Welcome to the Weekly Thrive Report with me, Greg Eel, the Culture Change Agent. I am overwhelmed, I'm overjoyed, I'm pumped up. Last week was life-changing. I know every week I say it's life-changing, every week I say it's pumped up. If you listen to my podcast, you know I say every episode is phenomenal. Like, I'm on a roller coaster right now, and I refuse to let a day, a week, a moment go by while I'm not excited about life. Because guess what? There's somebody that didn't make it. I know that's an easy point, but there's somebody that's not watching this video right now. There's somebody that is struggling and working through life, and maybe is homeless, maybe can't eat. There's somebody right now that don't have time for personal development. They don't have time to watch a video and to get encouraged, inspired, and empowered. There's some people that don't have time. So I refuse to come and talk to you and say, man, everything's going all right. I can't call it. No, it's phenomenal. You should approach that in life. But I'm talking real fast. Let me slow it down. Today is important. It's critical. And I want to say two things. I only got 2 points today. I want to go right to it, get right to your chest, right? The reason why, or let me say it like this, the reason why the tour has been successful, the reason why the podcast is beginning to bubble up and blow up, the reason why when I look at my calendar, I see September, October, November, December, March 2018, dates are starting to book. When last year I had the same talent, same drive, I had books on sale, we had the podcast, but things were not progressing the way I thought, because guess what? One thing only, right? And this is the theme of the day. I started to do less. I started to do less. Like, a lot of times when you start in your career, a lot of people encourage you to do more. Volunteer here. Get involved in our organization. Join that extended group. Join this. Join that. But here's what I want you to do. I want you to stop. Because let me be practical, right? With this podcast, people don't know that originally, the first thing I did was I blogged. Before I did my first speech, I had a blog. And then I realized, hey, I can do this speaking thing a little bit. So at North Carolina A&T State University, I had my first speaking engagement ever. And then I said, yo, this is my gift. This is my talent. This is what I do. So with the speaking thing, I put all my focus into speaking, right? And then as I began to speak, I realized, hey, my story has some legs to it. Let me write a book. So then I wrote my first book. And then after I wrote my first book, it led to me saying, yo, how can I grow my audience but make other people the spotlight? Hence the podcast. And then after the podcast, I wrote another book. And then I realized, okay, what's that next level? Podcast tour. And while on tour, I realized a lot of people wanted to write books. A lot of people wanted to speak. A lot of people wanted to start podcasts. Let me do consulting and coaching, right? And then now, through the actual tour, I said, yo, let's do it one step further. Let's have the Minority Trailblazer Conference. So now what looks like, oh, Greg, you're in all these lanes. How can you be telling me to do less? Because you podcast, you speak, you got this conference, you're doing all this other stuff. Because it all started with one thing. I just focused on speaking. In elementary, middle school, high school, anybody that can give me opportunity, I spoke. Now also, every other week, I was blogging regularly. And that opened up the door to allow things to happen. So I got 2 principles, and 2 principles only today. And the first principle is you need to define your day. Define your day, right? And what does that look like? What do you mean, Greg? When I say define your day, I said every single morning when you wake up, you have to have a reason to wake up, right? I'm not talking about your why or whatnot. There is a reason why you woke up, whether it's to go to work, if you're an entrepreneur, whether it's to get more clients, if you are a makeup artist, it's to beat faces and all that stuff, right? But you have a reason why you woke up, why you're alive. And I see so many people, specifically those that want to be excellent, specifically those that want to be phenomenal, that wake up and they have no oomph, they have no force because they don't know what they're going to do with their day. They don't have no thrive list. They don't have no intentionality on what financial goals they want to hit, what fitness goals they want to hit. They just live life, just throw anything they want on it, right? So I'm telling you, when I say do less, I say, yo, say if your goal is to be an artist, when you wake up today, it's your goal to write one, do one painting. It's your goal to teach one other person how to draw. Like, what does that look like? As a speaker, what is my goal? This week, let me be practical. This week, my goal was I need to hit at least 5K in potential bookings, right? That's anywhere from 1 to 1.5 gigs. So what I do? For 2 hours every single morning, I'm kind of jumping the points, but for 2 hours every single morning, I just canvas and I hit up old contacts. I was on LinkedIn. I was on Facebook. I was looking through, I did a contact audit. I talked about it a couple episodes before. All my entrepreneurs, all my business starters do a contact audit. Go through every single number on your phone and say, are they connected to an industry I'm trying to get into? Are they a teacher? Are they a principal? Are they in a company that needs my type of services? And I did that. And guess what? In 2 days, we doubled the number that I was looking for. And everything's not confirmed yet, but it's because I was intent. I said, I want to be the best speaker and I want to grow my media company. Well, how can I do that? So I labeled my first half of the day, just 2 hours, to do specifically that. I put on airplane mode. People weren't texting me. I wasn't replying to emails, no calls. We were locked in that one task. Focus on less. And now we're going to do more. But it wouldn't happen if I didn't focus, right? So number one, define your day. And last but not least, number two, I kind of merged two things in together. I had define your day and I had a little bit of my second point, activate your day, where you actually have 2 hours of constructed time on your goal. Just 2 hours a day. Constructed time, no distractions, no interruptions, no emails, no phone calls, no nothing, all in on that one goal. So we have that, define your day. But the second point, which is critical, right? You got to create consequences for not conquering your day. I know you may have never heard that before, but hear me out on this. A lot of plans go to awry. A lot of plans fail. A lot of people fail. A lot of companies fail because there's nothing at stake with what they say they want to achieve. If you want to achieve a weight loss goal and every day you go past that McDonald's and that McDonald's calling your name, that burger calling your name. You say you a vegan, but yo, that sausage biscuit calling your name. That what is it? That Popeye's chicken, that Chick-fil-A. We know that number one with the mayo on the side, with the Chick-fil-A sauce. We know that's calling your name. And the reason why you keep buying that burger, the reason why you keep eating that Chick-fil-A sandwich and getting that fried chicken and that mac and cheese when you say you vegan now and all that other stuff, is because you have nothing at stake. You have nothing at stake to lose. So I told a friend of mine, she was like, yo, I want to get back in the gym. I want to lose weight. I said, yo, give $1,000 to your friend. And then every time that you eat or every time that you work out, send a picture. And if you don't send it 3 times a day for a whole month, she gets to spend that $1,000 accordingly or go to a scholarship fund. She was like, what? Like, give $1,000? Like, what you mean? Like, yeah, give $1,000, right? Because until you have something to lose, all you're operating on is willpower, right? And you know, willpower is finite because some of you, y'all can put it to your mind, y'all can do it, but all of us ain't that deep as you, right? So if you're that deep, make sure you make a video and send me the link to how you get deep to decompress your mind and whatnot for the rest of society, right? If there's nothing at stake, then you won't do it. For the most part, right? Look at your job. You know, if you do not show up for a week straight, what happens? You lose your job, right? If you are a parent and you don't feed your child for a week straight, A, you're a horrible parent, but B, you probably gonna lose your child, right? Because there's something at stake. But a lot of times we put these goals out. I want to write this book. I want to become a speaker. I want to do a podcast. We have no consequences for our inaction, right? So that's why you're still stuck to what you have to do. It's been 15 weeks and my life has changed since I started doing this weekly videos, and you still stuck where you're supposed to not be because you have no consequences to your work. So I just challenge you one thing. Once you define your day, number one, 2, create consequences for inaction, all right? And those consequences don't have to be severe, but those consequences have to mean something to you in order for you to push forward, all right? So let's get to the weekly recap. I got 4 things real quick. The first thing, I got to see E.T., the hip-hop preacher, live and direct in North Carolina, A&T State University last Thursday. And when I tell you it was a life-changing experience, one, because to have somebody of that magnitude come and deliver an authentic, a real message, and to see what it looks like from an elite level, how to perform, how he prepares, how crisp his words were, how precise his images were, and how vivid his stories were. It allowed me to see the levels because, I mean, I'm a professional. I'm a high-level professional right now. Like, pound for pound, under 30, I don't really think there's anybody messing with me. I'm going to say that. I say that publicly. There's not. Flat out. But there are levels to the profession. The Tony Robbins, the Brendon Burchards, the Cardones, the Gary V's, the Eric Thomases of the world. And I was like, wow, that is how you do it. And it was just a phenomenal chance to see him. So that was one great thing to happen. Second great thing to happen, shout out to Kent Rowland, man. He got married to his beautiful bride, and it was a phenomenal wedding, open bar, and great food. That mac and cheese and that salmon was phenomenal. So shout out to Kent Rowland and his family. Third great thing that happened is, as I mentioned before, I shifted the business model. So now I'm pleasure to announce Minority Trailblazers is now a media company where we highlight and focus on people of color that are doing phenomenal things in an authentic way in two mediums, video and audio, man. So a lot more to go and tell. I can't wait to release what we're really working on, but thank y'all for your prayers and well wishes, and we about to take this thing to a whole nother level. And last but certainly not least, I got my highest profile gig to date coming up October 4th. Shout out to Joanna Smith for holding me down. I will release the school and the name soon, but just blessings. That's all I got to say, all right? So the one thing I want to work on this week, I want to work on silence. In my relationships, in my friendships, as a speaker, as a thinker, a lot of times I don't allow room for dead silence. You know, if you're a radio personality, if you're a podcaster, dead air, dead silence is horrible. But in negotiations and relationships, silence is critical for growth. Allowing people to process, allow yourself to listen and really give accurate responses, and rather just trying to forecast what you believe in. I think once I really improve my silence, that will allow me to build better relationships, allow me to grow as far as my negotiation, as far as business, and will allow me to mature as an adult. So that's one thing I want to work on this week is silence. My one recommended tool or resource is this book called Speak Like Churchill, Stand Like Lincoln, and it's written by James C. Humes. When I tell you I read this book almost a year ago, it's a phenomenal, easy read, and it's specifically for not just speakers, but teachers, people that communicate, i.e. you, on a daily basis with people that may not look like you, people that look like you, people come from different backgrounds. This gives you the tips and tricks to be a better communicator, more effective speaker, and most importantly, be a better human, all right? My big takeaway for this week, and I live by it, I die by it, and I tell people all the time, you need to do it. You need to execute immediately. So if I'm on the phone and somebody says, send me an email, I send the email while I'm on the phone. If somebody says, hey, let's schedule a meeting, I send the meeting invite immediately when I'm on the phone. Because guess what? When I don't, I miss the meeting. And that meetings can mean missing a couple $1,000. Missing a couple $1,000 mean it could be back on rent. Being back on rent mean being homeless. Being homeless could be, I don't know. So I just make sure that whatever you do, that's why it's important to do less so you don't have to execute on too many things. But execute immediately if you have the time. Somebody asks for a press kit, your rates, whatever. Make sure you shoot that email immediately. Don't put it on the back burner to-do list because it never gets done. So, all right, so hope that helps. My one goal for next week is simple. I want to land my first national sponsorship for the Minority Trailblazer Conference, all right? Remember, Minority Trailblazer Conference coming March 8th and 9th, March 9th and 10th, 2018. That's a Friday and Saturday in Durham, North Carolina. And I want to land my first sponsor. We already had a couple registrations, so we got that goal. But the next big goal is to land our first national sponsor. So if you're a company, if you know somebody, make sure you reach out, and I'm gonna be aggressively hunting to get that first national sponsorship on our belt. My challenge to you this week is simple. Side note, y'all messed up. I had a crazy prize in mind, but nobody sent their daily routine to me, greg@gregahill.com. So y'all didn't get that surprise. But my one challenge to you is be phenomenal when nobody's watching. I can't say it any more plain. I'm not going to draw out a story. I'm not going to make a dramatized point or illustration. I just want you this week to focus on being phenomenal when nobody is watching. Not on Instagram, not on Snapchat, not on Facebook Live, not on Twitter or Periscope, nothing. Be phenomenal when nobody is watching, all right? So that's all I got to say. I got two more things, and those two things are simple. I do it every week. It is change the freaking culture. And subscribe. Good night. I can't dance. You know that little kids be like, bah! I can't do it, yo. All of a sudden, my vision became so clear. Everything I needed was right there before me. So blessed to let you know just how you make me feel. Everything you needed was so right before me. Get up in it, up in it. Y'all remember making a band? Go get some cheesecake, man. I'm out. I know I can't sing.